Hey folks, thank you very much for tuning in. My name's YellowHat, and today we're continuing our gun guide series where we go over all the stats and quirks of each weapon in Pavlov VR. In today's episode, we're going to continue our in-depth look at the modern assault rifles of Pavlov, and we're going to talk about a fan favorite weapon for many players, the AK47. Like the M4 we talked about last episode, the AK47 is a top tier weapon, and we're going to talk about its stats, quirks, and how it fits into the search and destroy meta. So, let's start with the AK47 stats. The AK47 deals a base damage of 25, meaning that it's a 4-hit kill to an unarmored player. The armor damage of this weapon is 60, meaning that it takes 2 hits to strip a player's armor off. The armor penetration of this weapon is 100%, meaning that the AK-47 will retain its 4-hit kill value to armored players. The helmet damage is 100, meaning that the AK-47 will take a player's helmet off in 1 hit. In addition to this, the helmet penetration is 100%, meaning that the AK-47 will always be a 1-hit kill to the head, even if a player is wearing a helmet. Lastly, the AK-47 is affected by the damage reductions to the knee and the foot. Shots that hit below the knee will do 20% less damage, making it a 5-hit kill, and shots that hit the foot will do 50% less damage, making the AK an 8-hit kill at most. The bullet velocity of the AK is just a tad bit slower than the M4, as it's 2,296 feet per second. This means that at further distances, you'll have to lead your shots ever so slightly more than the M4. The magazine capacity of the AK-47 is 30 rounds plus 1 in the chamber, which is in line with many of the other assault rifles. The AK-47 has the slowest fire rate of any automatic weapon in Pavlov, as it shoots just 500 rounds a minute. This sets its body shot time to kill back behind all the other assault rifles, as it sits at 480 milliseconds. While this might seem like a big issue, the fact that this weapon is always capable of a 1-hit headshot negates this problem entirely, if you can get the headshot, that is. Anyways, with the numbers out of the way, let's go over how to reload the AK-47. The reload process on the AK is relatively simple. Just pull the magazine with your trigger grip, grab a fresh one from your pouch, and if you need to do a full reload, rack the charge handle on the right side. Another unique feature that's currently in the beta branch is the ability to knock out the magazine with a fresh one. Again, this feature is only in the beta branch at the moment, so it will be in the main game sometime soon. Before we get to the economic overview, let's have a look at the AK-47's recoil pattern. The recoil of this weapon is mostly vertical, and, well, there's a good amount of it. The recoil pattern itself peaks at bullet 11 and then goes side to side for the remainder of the pattern. What makes the AK surprisingly easy to control is the low fire rate. This allows the gun to reset a bit more between shots, meaning that you can do 4 to 5 round bursts pretty effectively and accurately. The other notable thing about the AK's recoil is the visual wobble that happens when you fire the weapon. It's best to just ignore this as best as you can and focus on the front sight and tracers. From an economic standpoint, the AK-47 is a pretty solid choice in most situations. The AK-47 costs $2,500 and has a kill reward of $300. This does decrease to $100 if you put on the suppressor, however. Since the AK costs $2,500, this means that the minimum amount of money you need to buy an armor and an AK is $3,150. In order to buy a helmet and an AK-47, you need $3,500, and I'd recommend this by much more, as the whole point of the AK-47 is to be able to one-hit headshot unlike the other ARs. In terms of attachments, the only attachment that the AK-47 can take is the suppressor. The suppressor costs $500 and takes away $200 from the kill bonus of the AK. The suppressor isn't necessary as an attachment, but it can make aiming with the AK slightly easier due to it removing the muzzle flash, but at the same time, you lose the tracers. It's more of a personal preference, if anything. I'd really only use the suppressor if you have the extra money to spare and if it's the last round of the half. With all this mentioned, I feel that you should buy the AK-47 when your team is more or less economically stable and you have at least $4,000. This is to account for any utility that you may need for the round. There are certain situations, however, where it's totally okay to force buy an AK, as it has the one-hit headshot potential that can turn a force buy round into your team's favor. So, what are my thoughts on the AK-47? Like the M4, it's a meta-defining weapon, and if you're more consistent with getting headshots, I absolutely recommend using it. It's best used for holding down longer angles and stripping armor, but it also works really well at close range as experienced users can flick to the head and score the one-hit headshot against a full buying opponent. The AK47 also works really well in situations where you need to shoot someone through thin cover such as wood, as it still does good damage through certain pieces of cover. The AK might not have the best DPS on body shots, but its ability to one-hit headshot at any range against a helmet is an absolute game changer that shouldn't be overlooked. It's the primary reason why many players at the higher level decide to main the weapon over the M4. The only real cons with the AK are its low fire rate. The only time I wouldn't recommend using the AK47 is against opponents with higher ping, as it can be difficult to consistently hit them. Other than this, there's no real downside to using the AK besides the fire rate, and it works well in basically every situation. Like the last episode, I'm going to leave you all with a round from a 10-man friendly consisting of all VR League players and ringers, so you can see how certain weapons are used at a high level. Anyways, enjoy this round. It's definitely a personal preference thing. I just like red dots and irons.
Irons are shit. Have you heard about, do you know how scopes work in real life? Like hollow and red dot?
Kinda, yeah.
You know the parallax distortion thing?
Yeah, well, yeah. Got tags.
Smoking out. Upper.
I'm blind.
Nice. Well, no rush.
I must have hit him harder with that nade then.
Spooked him out.
Waiting in radio.
I am A long.
One at upper B.
Huh?
Okay.
Still there.
2 upper B at least. Or towards B.
I think I pinged his helmet off.
Yeah, just fall back.
Yeah, pull back. One's con, I think. Smokes on A.
Util and drop.
Could be a fake.
I think they pushed A long. I'm going.
Yeah,
back
I
now.
don't see any. I pushed out B. I don't see anything. I guess get ready for an A take.
I'll rotate.
No,
Oh,
no,
Got
no.
16
smoke
seconds left.
on, smoke on B.
Not yet.
I'm smoked.
But
Yeah, I think A is clear.
expect.
Yep.
Nice.
Damn.
Well left. How
Wow.
did they let you take cat, dude?
Oh,
On side.
shit, freaked me. Sorry.
I don't know, but that's going in the AK video I'm making.
it should.
If there were any stats that you didn't see covered that you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know what weapon you want to see next. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something useful from this video. If you did and you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep up to date with when I upload. Be sure to also check out my social links in the description below. Thank you again for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Take it easy.